home and find everything's different.
That's the basis of my movie, Vicky Cristina Molly Jason Barcelona.
Oh, I'm all in. I'd finally see the movie, even though I never saw the one that you're referring to.
Oh yeah, Woody Allen ripped me off.
Yeah, he don't like you anymore. Okay. Well,
Kabuzz, he's a jerk.
Aha, see?
So you can use it. Kabuzz. I like it. It's the California buzz.
It's the new sound, sweeping the nation.
Yep. We had the Salt Lake Buzz. We still do. That's our little minor league team, baseball team. Yeah.
Oh, baseball.
Yeah, hockey's the Grizzlies. They have lots of Z's in there.
But isn't that the Utah, university?
Nope. That's so it's the Utah Grizzlies are our NHL or IHL team. Buzz used to be the Trappers, and it was owned by Bill Murray. Then he sold it. Then it became the Buzz. That's the baseball minor league team. Then we got the Utah Jazz, which is the only professional team we have, and then Utah are the Utes, so they're always the Utes. Right. Yeah, and then BYU is the Cougars.
You know what Utes are?
They're Indians.
Well, in Australia, they're pickup trucks.
Oh, are they really?
They're short for utility, so you just call them Utes.
Well, they were here. It's based on the Ute Nation. In fact, if the Redskins thing ever happens for Washington and they change it, I guarantee the laser eyes of the scrutinizing folk will point their squinties toward Utah and make them change theirs.
Well, it'll go to the Cleveland Indians next. Actually, baseball team.
A lot of Bay Area, actually a lot of California high school teams have had to change their mascots because they were considered racially inappropriate.
University of Illinois Fighting Illini. The famous one in Illinois that changed in the 70s was the Pekin Chinks.
The what?
You heard me right.
What's it called? The
Pekin, Illinois Chinks.
Okay. Chinks?
Yeah.
What did it refer to?
It referred to Chinese people.
Really?
Yes, it did.
So we had 3 adopted kids in my family. My brother and my 2 sisters are all from Korea. And my dad, as a term of endearment, would refer to them as that. And at the time, we didn't know what that meant or that it was derogatory. We had no idea. So he would say in the house, like, you ever round up the Chinks, we're getting ready for school or whatever. It was kind of terrible, but we didn't know until we're out in the wild one day.
It's worse because then you think, oh, I could just,
Yeah, we were like Kimmy Schmidt or whatever. So we were in a bus somewhere. We were on a bus and some guy calls my brother that, and they got into a fist fight. And my brother couldn't understand why this guy was mad and using this term that my dad said so lovingly all the time. Yeah, it was very odd growing up.
Well, they had a big to-do, as you might imagine, and eventually changed their name to the Pekin Dragons.
Oh, all right. With the Dragons, all right. Still slightly referential, but not offensive. It's fine. They had dragons over there. Chinese dragons.
Yeah, it's a long story. I mean, Pekin, the town Pekin is named after Peking.
Yeah. Peking duck. They should call it ducks. They should have been the Peking Ducks. Come on.
Right?
Missed opportunity. Awesome. Yeah.
Fighting ducks.
The BYU Cougars
turn into food.
The Brigham Young Cougars are often in trouble by 40-plus-year-old women who are into younger lawn mowing men. So there's that. Cougars.
I like Curtis B says there used to be a team called the Macon Whoopee.
Really?
Serious?
Oh man.
He said oh, and he works at a place that prints tickets, designs tickets. He said I laughed out loud the first time we did their tickets years back. Look at that. For real.
The Macon Whoopee, designed by who was the guy that hosted the Newlywed Game? It sounds like something they'd say. When I'm making whoopee with my wife.
And by that I mean cookies.
I hate it. That was one of the worst euphemisms for having sex ever.
It's the worst. It really is one of the worst. It's supposed to be innocuous, but it just grinds on
It sounds childish, but it sounds
23 skidoo.
But from like an adult male, it just comes out as creepy.
Well, you know what's funny is Make 'em Whoopee, 23 skidoo, Triptolite Fantastic, Cut a Rug. Those are all from the same era. Those are all actually more modern now that I think about it than okay.
Yeah, they're kind of teddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is just slang from the late 1800s, which would sound totally weird if it hadn't stuck around.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
What's your chat room at?
Oh,
irc.thinstack.net, hashtag frogpants.
Thinstack. All the normal ports and stuff.
It's this. I don't know about the body image that our chat room domain is giving.
Yeah. I used to think it said think stack, and I kept getting it wrong. But
And
So
again, I
thin
used to do
stack.
that.
thin stack, like a stack of thin things.
And then
Like a bunch of Thin Mints.
and it's / current or not current geek.
Frog pants.
It's pound frog pants.
Yeah.
That's what I was missing.
Pound frog pants every day.
Smoke weed every day.
One of my favorite high school nicknames is the Hillsboro Hilltoppers.
Oh, I like that.
Because when you I grew up with it, and it didn't really strike me until one day I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Like, mountains, hill, sure. Also lazy because what should we call our team? I don't know. We're Hillsboro. How about Hill something?
Who's your quarterback? Jason Hill? Freaking yeah, that's bad.
We were the Greenville Flyers until we merged the high school with the Pocahontas Indians and the Sorrento. What was Sorrento? Anyway, and then became the Greenville Comets.
Those Comets is all right.
Yeah.
We were the Bengal Tigers. The Bengals.
Ooh, nice.
Brighton Bengals, they called us.
Greenville Comets. Comets. Comets.
They're tearing down my high school right now and putting up a new one. Yeah, wow. Freaks me out a little bit. All right, everybody good? We good? We set?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. You ready there, Roger?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to do this now. Here goes. We're recording. Test, test, test. Begins in 3, 2, 1.
I have current geek. Current geek. Aha.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Current Geek. This is Current Geek, the weekly proceedings of the meetings of the Frog Pants All-Stars, Geeks of the World, and you to keep you current on all things that matter most. I'm Scott. That's Tom.
Hi, Scott. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Scott.
It's nice to meet you, Scott.
We've never done this before.
Do you know this is now... We've actually... It took us a year and a half, but we've done a year's worth of Current Geeks.
Is that true? 52 today. Yeah.
Well, 53 today.
Or 53.
So last week, we rounded it off at 52.
Yeah, that's weird. I guess we missed a few days. Oh, guess what? We're missing next Friday, everybody.
Oh, hey, that reminds me. I have to go to my nephew's graduation at the University of Illinois next Friday.
Yeah, and I have a high school play thing to go to for my kids same day. So as it turns out, Fridays are weird sometimes. Most of the time we're here, and we're here today. So happy to be here today that we brought a guest, a returning guest, and such a long-term friend of the network and program, and in Tom's case, personal friend forever. It's Roger Chang on the line. Hello, Roger.
Hello.
Good to have you here, man. Thank you for
Can't
being
get rid
with
of
us.
me, Roger.
Yeah.
Forever friend.
Still the co-host of one of my favorite shows you guys ever do, and I know you think no one listens, but I love East Meets West. I like that show a lot.
Oh, man. Thank you. We should
probably
do one of those.
Yeah, you should get one of. This is my way of telling you that I'm missing episodes, I guess.
So you're like, it's May, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I do like it though. Despite it's one of those shows I actually don't mind it being spotty on the schedule because it's like a nice surprise when it happens. It's like,
Yeah,
oh look,
that's the way we think of it.
yeah, Roger's got some bleak view of the Trade Commission, and Tom will say that the moon mission to whatever. Like it's always these great things that no one ever talks about. So
It's like when the cat brings up a pair of crawdad claws and leaves them on the back porch for you when you were least expecting it.
how gross. Well, we're
It's
gonna.
like talking to an uncle or something.
It is kind of
yeah, you know, I used to think that, but then
It is a little like that. It's also like this.
Herbert Hoover, Secretary of Commerce in 1922, finds infant radio facilitates news gathering, as do many others in high public office.
Tom, let's do the headlines.
Let's do it. So Joss Whedon deleted his Twitter account this week. All kinds of hell broke loose around it. A lot of people thought, oh, he's taking heat about the portrayal of Black Widow in Avengers Age of Ultron. Other people thought he was, just mad at people for criticizing the movie. Turns out Joss Whedon says that the reason he deleted his account was he needed to focus on writing and he couldn't stop himself from checking Twitter. But with all the hoopla, there's still a lot of chatter about things like Black Widow. There's a parody SNL trailer of Black Widow's movie, which they made look like a rom-com. Anyway, Jenny Josephson, who writes for this show and produces the Daily Tech News Show, volunteered to share her thoughts on the subject. and get this thorny conversation started.
All right, check this out. Here it is.
I saw Avengers Age of Ultron last Thursday, and I've spent too much time since trying to figure out how I feel about it. I wanted to love this movie as much as I loved the first Avengers. I know you can never fall in love for the first time twice, but I secretly hoped a Joss Whedon-directed sequel would be the exception. I'm not a brown coat, because that implies a furious army railing against the cancellation of an ambitious space opera by a network that just didn't get it. I guess I'm more of a Buffy jacket. Just grateful we got 6 years of an archetype-busting female super slayer, even if it never won all the awards it deserved. Neither did The Wire, so that's the world we're living in. Needless to say, I went into Ultron with high hopes. 2 hours, 21 minutes, and no end credits sequence later, I came out with mixed feelings. The battle between the Avengers and Ultron was spectacular, but it felt like an undercard. If Superman Returns taught us one thing, it's that flying real estate is not a menacing foe, no matter how hard you threaten to drop it. Also an undercard? This week's Bloodsport, in which some brain trust decided to try and label Joss Whedon as insensitive to female-centric storytelling. To those people, I could say 1,000 words, so I'll just say one. Buffy. Then another brain trust tried to claim Whedon left Twitter because angry feminists were mad about Black Widow. To them, I'll say, if you're standing in a noisy room and you can't figure out who made Joss Whedon leave Twitter, it's probably you. Even the much-publicized creative battle between Whedon and the canny overlords of the MCU was only a sideshow. You could hear the exhaustion seeping through his pre-movie publicity, and more directly in the Empire Magazine podcast where he spills his guts for an hour and a half. You could see it up on the screen, too, where carefully crafted character arcs were reduced to the Vine video version, so that we could all see Thor naked in a pool of darkness being ogled by a pasty astrophysicist. The character whose arc remained most intact was Hawkeye, and it was great. So actor Jeremy Renner showed his gratitude by calling Black Widow, his character's life debt bestie, a slut twice, because she has committed the cardinal sin of kissing 2 Avengers. If you don't hear from Jeremy Renner for a while, don't be surprised. They don't allow phone calls from the secret facility where they glued Mel Gibson's mouth shut. All of this nonsense would be enough to make a self-aware, hyper-literate, lifetime feminist like Joss Whedon seek out that Tahitian island Agent Coulson's always talking about. So let's all be grateful the guy just quit Twitter. In the end, the main event of Avengers Age of Ultron was between the ultimate brawlers, movies versus television. In this corner, high-quality tentpoles forged by Marvel Studios, the mega bros over at DC who decided it was okay to make Superman movies dark, and of course, Michael Bay. And in the other corner, Daredevil, all by himself for 13 episodes. Daredevil is the single best character-centric superhero storytelling out there right now. No surprise, the first season was run by Drew Goddard and Stephen S. DeKnight, who both wrote for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. No wonder Joss Whedon wants off-team movie. All of his people are in the other corner. So where does that leave me? Besides wanting a movie about a wiped-out director going full network and using an infinity stone to free Nathan Fillion from Castle to make more Shakespeare movies at his house, maybe it leaves me in line for the next showing of the Avengers Age of Ultron, to see if another viewing will help mix my feelings into something resembling a final opinion. Or maybe it leaves me on the couch at home watching Daredevil Season 1, Episode 5, World on Fire for the 10th time. You know why. Either way, as some bright person pointed out this week, we now have options, the kind of options we didn't have 10 years ago. Do I want my storytelling big and splody? Or do I want it small and personal and dark? So whoever wins the big battle between movies and television storytelling, the real winner is us. Excelsior!
Act 3. Yay! Act 3. I feel like an episode of This American Life is going on. That was extremely well done.
I know. She's so good and so nails it in the sort of like mixed emotions about Avengers Age of Ultron and then bringing in the fact that Daredevil is so darn good.
Yeah, it is. And again, there's such different mediums and they have such a chance with TV to pull out character beats and things they just can't do in an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I had the same feelings in Avengers 2, and it was just too many things spread far too thin, too many plot points to tie up, too much Joker in your Ultron, in my opinion. There's a lot of issues, but in the end, I guess I still kind of had a good time. I don't know what they're so maybe one of you guys can fill me in. But what is?
Well, Roger, we gotta be careful around Roger.
Yeah, he hasn't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
But what is?
I have a child.
But as far, I don't think this would spoil anything to know this though. What is the thing with Black Widow's portrayal necessarily? What was it? Was it just that she had a small part? Was that what the thing was?
The way I understand it from, again, someone who actually hasn't seen the movie, was that she was portrayed, if not in one, maybe several sequences, as the damsel in distress that needed rescuing, as instead of a woman who was trapped but could also extricate herself from that situation.
That is not what I read. And what I read, the one criticism, and I was reading some of the different criticisms to Eileen, and Eileen was like, I thought Black Widow was fine. You know, what's the deal? She was strong. She kicked ass. She rescued plenty of people. You know, I don't get it. One criticism was sort of this infantilism of her relationship with the Hulk, as if it were like her and a baby, and that Eileen said, she's like, I don't get that. The other reason that I can see, and she could see too, is kind of spoilery to say. So I hesitate to want to say it, but it has to do with the revelation of Black Widow's backstory. We get a little more about her backstory and why she is who she is. And Scott, I think you probably know without me saying it what I'm talking about there. And a lot of people felt like that was a pretty crappy and somewhat disappointing for a strong female character motivation.
As her, I could see that, I suppose, but then they've got to complain at all the variations of that exact same origin story that exists in the comics. Like, in a way, all they were doing there was an amalgam of various comic treatments of that origin.
Right, but you know, there's also plenty of racist comics that you.
No, you're right. I don't want to. Yeah,
it's not a justification to say, well, they did it back then. I'm not going to say one way or another, because again, we'd have to get into actually talking about the specifics of it.
Yeah.
You know, but that's, if you know, without criticizing it, that's what some people are saying. I don't like that.
Yeah, I would say this in defense and also in condemnation of the movie. I just think it's all a little half-baked, these stories. I didn't think the characters were all that well portrayed, and the stories didn't do it for me the way that her character so did it for me in Winter Soldier, and that made it even more disappointing. And it was not just her, it was Captain America as well. When Steve Rogers and Natasha roll in from that great showing where they built this incredible friendship and this real trust and this, you know, truly fleshed out kind of character interactions, and then walked right into Avengers 2 and kind of pretended none of that happened, or at least you sure didn't feel like it had happened. It just felt like they were asleep at the wheel after that showing. That's what disappointed me in both those characters. So it's a lot to live up to. It's hard to do. It's not the worst Marvel movie by any stretch. But I think,
do you think that do you buy Joss's reason for quitting Twitter?
Yeah,
to be like, look, I just couldn't keep myself off of it, so I had to delete the account, or else I would just get tempted and go back and check it.
What do you think, Raj?
I would say I would agree with him if he meant it that it was a distraction. I would totally agree with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is. It freaking is. You know, it can
be. I mean, even if you people say, well, you don't have to look at it, you don't have to read it. In the back of your mind, it's there, and you have, and it's so easy to do that you would just kind of surreptitiously do it anyway. And it's very interesting. I mean, I remember doing a pre-interview with Neil Gaiman on why he was still writing by hand and not using a word processor. And his answer was very simple, and he said, it's very easy to start moving off when you're typing on your computer, to go on the web and start just kind of digging through a bunch of other things that have nothing to do with what you're trying to get done, and it's a distraction. If I write by hand, I'm focused purely on the task of creating my story, of putting my thoughts on a sheet of paper. Whereas if I'm online, you know, yeah, I don't have to, but it's like dangling a candy in front of a baby. You know, they don't have to eat it, but their instinct is to automatically reach for it.
Yeah, plus
and
so
Roger
much.
currently has a baby in which he dangles candy in front of
right.
just to test
No
it.
candy.
Not yet.
I dangle toys.
Oh, good. Safe ones without any paint on them. Here's the thing, though. He's clearly exhausted from the experience of doing two of these movies. He's made as much known even before the thing came out. That interview with that thing on the Empire podcast is pretty revealing. And this seems like a guy who's like, all right, I did my big mega blockbuster. I disagree with a lot of what was going on behind the scenes with management and how they wanted story to go. So I just need to kind of get back to what I love and what I need. And what I need and love is only distracted by a bunch of freaks online who want to rip them apart every 3 seconds. I wouldn't want that either.
Not look.
Yeah.
And you could say, just don't look at them. But some of you out there are better people than we are and can resist that temptation.
Right.
And you are awesome. But a lot of people are frail human beings, and Joss Whedon is saying that he is one of them, and he just can't stop himself. So, when you just can't stop yourself from doing it, sometimes you got to just take away the temptation. Yeah. And that's what he did with
And
Twitter.
remember, it's important to remember, he joined this thing to promote, specifically joined it after a lot of pressure a few years ago to promote that Shakespeare movie he did in between these movies. And he wasn't a guy that's been here since 2007 using it all the time. He wasn't one of those celebrities. He was a guy that said, all right, fine, that makes sense. Started getting into it, was a part of it until recently. It's not like, he owes us anything. He doesn't owe us a damn thing.
Oh, definitely not.
Definitely doesn't owe us Twitter. I mean,
well, he owes me directing the 3rd Star Wars movie.
Oh, okay.
And to be honest, it's, Marvel characters are one of those things where you have multiple masters you need to placate, right? You have the studios, you have the people that bankroll the movie, but you also have the fans as well as the numerous creators that, want to make sure their quote unquote vision is faithfully reproduced on screen.
Yeah, let's talk about vision, because his reproduced. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's the thing. It's like you never. There are too many pans in the pot, and unfortunately, especially with something that rakes in this much money, I mean, it's invariably going to happen. And
yeah,
I'm amazed he lasted this long, to be honest.
Forget it, man. We're done with Marvel after this. We are not going to be into Marvel. Everyone has moved on, and they're excited about Captain America: Civil War. Deba Sidge let us know that Martin Freeman has been added to the cast. The movie comes out May 6th, 2016. And of course, everybody immediately forgot about Avengers Age of Ultron and started freaking out that Martin Freeman is going to be in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it crosses over with Doctor Strange so we can have Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman in another vehicle together.
Could happen. Did you see? Oh, something's trying to autoplay on that page. Did you see the other the cast itself? It looks like another Avengers movie. I mean, it's that many other dudes. You've got Don Cheadle in there as War Machine, of course, Iron Man. Got to do this all from memory. Steve Rogers, of course.
Renner's in it.
Renner's in it. Black Widow's in it.
They're playing with fire. I'm sorry.
Maybe the Hulk. Okay, so that was going to be my question, Roger. Do you think we are headed toward peak overflow problem superhero movies?
I honestly, if you asked me as a kid, you think there would be too many superhero movies? Like, I would say no. You can never have enough. But I think the problem is that it's, in many ways, it's like kind of like a commodity bubble. Like, there's so much hype, so much interest that invariably the hype and all the other associated things, but not the actual content of the movie, start to take over. And I don't know. It's like when they used to do all those show specials in the 80s, like on the networks, like the Battle of the Network Stars. Just throw people, famous people in, and people watch it. And I think it's, if they pull it off, great. But I think it's coming to a boiling point where they really need to kind of sit back and take a look, and not look at the franchise as a giant cash register, but rather a longer term view of like, okay, where do we want this to go? If we handle it right, it'll last for a generation or two, like as a very solid piece of pop culture content. Mm-hmm. But if we don't, then people are going to look, oh, look, it's another Superman 3. Worse, a Superman 4, right? Where you just kind of grinding them out because you think it'll make money for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried about it too. I mean, not because I don't want them. I do want them. But I want smart. I want well written. I want the reasons I love the comics in the first place to carry over onto film, and they've kind of done that so far. But I worry that you do it so hard so fast, and then you start thinking, oh no, they're going to do this with Star Wars. They're going to have a Star Wars movie every year. Oh crap! When are they going to start having 3 or 4 Star Wars movies a year? Like at some point, you got to, when do you slow down and not do this?
I finally caught the last installment of The Hobbit. Like, I rented it from Netflix, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I did not see this in the theater.
Yeah,
because it told the whole thing. I mean, I like the story and I like the stuff that they did with it, but overall, I just felt like it was a giant, way to make money. Like it was that blatant. It didn't
It's
feel
too
like,
much. Too much. We're getting too much of the same thing. In fact, I'm just going to call it. Let's move on to the next story. Strike It Rich One submitted the news today that ABC has picked up a second season of Agent Carter.
Oh, no.
And Entertainment Weekly says they hear it's another 8-episode order. In fact, if you add this into the spinoff from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it might possibly be the case that we will have a Marvel show on ABC year-round.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, there's more. I don't know. If you ask me, the move to TV and the continued success of these various series, including The Flash and Arrow and other stuff, and
someone who actually watches those shows.
Yeah. Like that stuff's great. It's really well done.
No, I love it. I love The Flash and there. Those are probably some of the best superhero shows that I've seen lately, even including great. Daredevil. I mean, I think the way they make it still whimsical without. Like I love Daredevil, but it's kind of heavy.
Oh, come on! Daredevil is definitely better than Arrow and Flash, and I'm a big Arrow and Flash.
No. What I'm saying is that Daredevil is very heavy. It's very dark. Comparatively, the Flash and Arrow still managed to throw in a bit of that kind of like childhood. Oh, well, that's kind of.
I feel like that's just a matter of taste. Sometimes you want the dark chocolate. Sometimes you want jelly beans, and there's nothing wrong with either one.
Sure.
Apparently you just like ground coffee beans, Tom. Nothing but ground dark coffee.
Hey, man, I'm a big fan of Arrow and the Flash, and Arrow's getting darker, too.
Sure. And Arrow's been a little dark here and there to begin with. It had its moments. They've definitely. I like that Arrow's less CW and more, good now. In the beginning, it was a little CW, and I'd bother me that first season. Sure, but I understand how that network works and stuff. But the long form is where it's at, in my opinion, and this is where real stories are being told. We've flipped on it. Movies don't let you do that anymore. They're big set pieces, but if you're going to just keep maybe here's the solution: the standalone movies. Well, at least Captain America standalone movies, and at least a couple of the Iron Man's men. What else? Thor's good, I suppose.
You like Thor?
It was okay. It was all right.
Both Thors were fillers. I'm sorry, they both felt like fillers.
Yeah.
How do we keep this character in the public consciousness at the same time while we can make a decent buck without investing too much into it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still of the opinion that the Hulk is at its best when he is with a team. So
as an ensemble,
in that way, that's how the Avengers have served us best, is giving us a vehicle where the Hulk truly shines. Put him by himself sucks.
This kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, and last time I'm going to touch on this. It's going to turn into kind of the whole Law and Order or CSI, where you're just going to spin off of a spin-off of the spin-off, and then it's just going to inundate you 24/7. My grandkids are just like, "Why do you watch this stuff?"
Yeah,
crap.
We're going to be begging for sparkly vampires, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be old people watch superhero shows because those have been around forever.
Like the Lone Ranger or Batman.
I'm going to move us along, and this time it's not a fake out to another story about superheroes. Captain Kipper alerted us to the story of Seattle-based architect Jeffrey Peltier remodeling his basement to house his 250,000-piece Lego collection. He has 153 bins and 189 drawers full of pieces.
Crap. Wow. Don't go anywhere. Hold on a second. Something has locked up. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave me. Hold on.
I'm so afraid.
Dang it. Okay, can you guys... Oh, you can probably still hear me, but I can't hear you. Hold on. Chat room, you can hear me. They can't hear me. Hold on. Dang it. It's the second time today. Oh. I know what it is. It's video drivers. Hang on just a second. It's coming back. Damn it. It's so frustrating. Come on, boot up. Boot. Hold your butts. Hold on to your butts. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's so frustrating. Thankfully, I got a lot of fast hard drives in here, so stuff should just run real quick. Okay, hold on. Hang on. Continue. That's right. Let's see what we got.
Crap,
We're gonna hate it.
should've won.
We're gonna be begging for sparkly vampires, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be old people modeling his basement to house his 250,000-piece Lego collection.
Okay. All right. Let me get back in. Get in, add to the call. We got this.
Even make that.
I'm back. Sorry.
Like my mom, the car. Oh, look, the spirit of my dead mother's in my car now.
Welcome back, Scott.
Sorry. Okay, if you got as far as this, Tom, I'm going to play it. So hold on.
1,000-piece Lego collection.
You got to collection, and then then it locked.
Ready?
So hold on, I'll tell you when. Ready, go.
153 bins and 189 drawers full of pieces.
That's a lot of Legos.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, the video for this is a showpiece about interior design. It's not a toy blog. It's not some geeky thing. They're like showing off. If you watch the other video, there's a companion video of the rest of the house. The house is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm.
This is not some, sweaty, stereotypical nerd living in a basement. In fact, they show what the basement looked like when they first moved into the house, and it looked like someone would have been murdered there.
So, okay,
they turned it into this white paradise, had custom built shelves, and now he's got 250,000 Lego pieces. All the
paradise?
yellow bricks, all the 6x6s are in one, all the 3x3s are in another.
I like how Roger heard it. A white paradise.
A white paradise.
It was, Roger. I don't know if you'd feel comfortable there. I don't.
Probably not. I don't know. It's great. I mean, I really love Legos, but I'm also at the point where
walls.
it's like. I mean, I have one of those masterpiece TIE Fighter and X-wing kits. I never finished the X-wing because I wasn't sure if I had all the pieces. I only have the body.
Well, go over to this guy's house. He'll give you the rest of the pieces.
Should
hook you right up.
Legos are pricey though. Legos are very pricey.
Yeah, they're not the cheapest thing in the room.
What I love is they show the couple playing with the kids down in the Lego basement, which they also have a projector screen. They can use it to watch TV and stuff. But they show them playing with the kids, and you could tell the kids are with the Duplo, and they have their own bin. And I'm like, I bet those kids get in big trouble if they go to the wall to try to pull out one of Daddy's Legos.
Well, do you? So I always thought that Legos were really good at collecting bacteria and stuff. I could be wrong about that, but when I was growing up, I always thought that was
sounds
true.
like a wives' tale.
Maybe, because it's just plastic, right? It's just.
You could wash it though. I mean, it's not porous plastic.
That sounds like something your parents told you because they were tired of you playing with the Legos when you go to bed.
Yeah, actually, yes, that's probably true. Now that you mention it, they did seem to be awful quick with fake facts to get me to go to bed. But yeah, whatever. Each his own. Whatever. Make your house better by filling it with Legos. I'm all in on this.
I was hoping he would have built a section out of that room out of Legos, like a little playhouse.
I was a little bit I don't know if it was disappointed, but just surprised that there weren't more Lego constructions. He has a few. He had a skyscraper that was pretty nice. He has a ship, a boat, like a pirate ship, it looks like, or at least an old-fashioned tall ship. But it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty, is what I'm going to say. Yeah. This is not. You got to go watch this video because it's not what you think. It's not some crazy Lego guy with 1 million Legos. Except there are 250,000 Legos, but they're all tidy. This is the tidiest Lego basement you will ever imagine seeing.
But the problem with his layout, and this is my one critique of it, is he has a lot of storage space, but he doesn't have any display space.
Right.
I mean, it's not like everyone wants to keep their models or their creations forever, but you do want to kind of show it off. And the way it is just their cubby holes and kind of out of the way spaces.
I feel like what he's showing off is his organizational skills.
His type A person. Is that a type A person?
Is that type A or
type A?
Well, what? I forget how that works.
It's a retentive personality.
Retentive personality.
Lego retentive. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Star Fury Zeta didn't want us to miss the discovery of a silver bar off the coast of Madagascar that may be 17th century pirate Captain Kidd's lost treasure, or at least one of them. Bar weighs 50 kilograms. It's about 100 pounds. The expedition was overseen by underwater explorer Barry Clifford, whose teams previously found Kidd's ship, the Adventure Galley, and at one point thought they had found Columbus's ship, the Santa Maria, although they hadn't. It turned out it was a much later era of ship. But they've got experience finding this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Actual pirate stuff. I always feel like we're done with this. Like we've explored enough stuff or seen where all our crap has gone that there's no more secrets out there. But
there is actually still pirates' booty to be found.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, even if it is under the sea. It's weird because they what was it during the big freeze up over the Great Lakes, the U.S. Coast Guard took an overflight and took some photos. Then you could actually see, because of the ice, you could actually see where all the wrecks were on the Great Lakes.
Oh, really?
Because
it was an unusually clear water day, and you could, it was really cool.
Oh, wow.
And I've always wondered, like, if you could just roll back the water, what kind of garbage you would see at the bottom of the ocean. Like, people think of shipwrecks, and it's really romantic, but when you think about what most of that is, it's just people who just drop the garbage.
Mostly Sprite cans, is my guess.
Well, aluminum actually dissolves in salt water over time.
Okay.
Oh, does it?
So which is why the Navy dumps it overboard.
So
it's going to be mostly Odwalla bottles.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes.
Or iPhones and
plastic,
MacBooks.
Lots of plastic.
Yeah, MacBooks won't last very long. They'll just be keyboards floating at some point. But I'm looking at some photos here. There are some amazing shots of overhead views of sunken ships in the Great Lakes. That's amazing. Wow. No idea. Had no idea. Learned something today. Impressive.
All right, we got to get to this next one. TVZ Gun may have taken the jewel of the day. It wasn't the top vote at currentgeek.reddit.com, which, by the way, if I haven't mentioned, you need to go vote at currentgeek.reddit.com and help us figure out what to put in the show. We take our cue directly from you. It's not exactly a democracy, but it's pretty close. Anyway, TVZ Gun directed us to the cautionary tale of Dominic Alfonseca, arrested on Monday in Virginia Beach, Virginia, after apparently robbing a bank and then posting about it on Instagram. Now that alone, there would be your story, right? Mm-hmm. It gets weirder. Alfonseca allegedly walked into a bank in Virginia Beach, handed the teller a note demanding 150,000 bands, and then posted several times on Instagram what appeared to be the actual note he posted a picture of, what appeared to be the lady putting the money into a bag for him. And then when he was arrested, said that he didn't rob anyone. He just asked the teller nicely to give him money, and she did. We actually have some of the audio from WVEC in Norfolk where they interviewed him.
Yeah, I'm going to play it now. And you've always heard the old phrase, "I didn't do it for the money." Well, it takes new meaning here. So here you go.
For real, I didn't even do it for money. You understand? I didn't do that for money. I knew my page would get exposure. For real, I felt like I got robbed because they gave me the money and then the police robbed my money. I'm telling you why I did what I did. You know what I mean? But if justice is served in that way, then I think justice shall be served all around.
What? I mean, aside from the fact that he sounds like he's in a garbage can, which,
well, he was talking through a plastic shield at the prison. I'm surprised the police allowed that to be taped, but they did.
That's weird.
He claims that, he just wrote a nice note and then the lady gave him the money. Mm-hmm. He didn't threaten anybody. Mm-hmm. He said, you heard him say the police robbed him.
Yeah, he didn't do it for the money. He did it for exposure on his Instagram page. He wanted more hits or more likes or more followers. And
thought it'd be a lark to see what would happen.
Kind of don't believe it. Yeah.
I don't know what's minimum 10 years.
Okay, first of all, this guy is actually a sad case. If you listen to more of the interviews that they have with him, he is delusional. It's fairly obvious. He talks about people posting his ideas on Instagram before he has them, and weird stuff like that. So there's something wrong. The guy needs treatment. But there's also a really interesting point to this, and I couldn't quite read the note in the one blurry photo of his Instagram photo of the note. Yeah. He says something in there about, I don't want it to blow up after I leave, which is a reference to the ink sometimes that they'll have blow up and mark the money.
All right.
But what happens if you go in and nicely say, hey, can you just give me $200,000?
Yeah, and if they give it to you, did you rob them or did they Did they employ It's like somebody at McDonald's gave you an extra Big Mac when they didn't mean to or something. And like I don't know. That's a very interesting legal question. I mean, ultimately, I am no lawyer, but it seems like, not that you guys were confused about my passing of the bar exam, but it just seems like that there's probably something on the books that says no, they can't. The woman probably felt threatened, no matter how small the threat. No matter how nicely he asked, that's a weird thing to ask. In her mind, she could have been, all right, he's probably got a gun. I got to give him this money. We'll sort it out later. And they did.
Well, and that is a typical training thing, is if you are threatened and told to give money, then you hand the money over.
Yeah.
And so, she could say, like, the nature of the money and the nature of him made me feel unsafe, in which case, I don't think he gets away with it. But
yeah.
I'm thinking of a different scenario, which would never happen because they would just say no. But if you're like, look, I'm not robbing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing bad's gonna happen. Let me reassure you of that. You are safe.
Okay.
Could you give me $100,000?
It's like the way you're not supposed to joke about bombs when you're at the airport. I mean, you just they even have signs, or they used to, like, please do not
in the bank.
No, in the airport.
Oh, in the airport.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. No, in the airport they still do. No, please don't make any jokes. All comments are taken seriously.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking, I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, they don't.
Please don't rob this bank.
Please don't rob this bank. Please don't ask for money. That equates to robbing.
Please don't joke about robbing this bank.
Yeah. I wonder if if I'm in a line at a bank and I go, I should just pull out a gun and take all of this money. Could they? That would be grounds, right?
That would, I would say you have a good chance of being arrested for that.
Or shot by the security guard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because,
that's a threat. Now, you may say I didn't mean it, but that is, it is reasonable for people to take that as a threat.
I wonder how many people get pulled at the TSA, get pulled to the side and questioned because they're 17 and they say something dumb like that. It's got to happen all the time, right? Because they think they're being funny.
And it's especially with people who are still drinking on the way to the airport, they get pulled out, and it doesn't matter if you're joking.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably won't press charges against you, but you'll miss your flight, and you'll be cooling your heels for at least 12 hours.
Yeah, and they'll scare the hell out of you, and you'll say, I've heard kids do this long before TSA, before 9/11. It would say, something like, "Oh, I got a bomb in my bag," and then if anybody overheard that, you'd be sort of yanked out of there and held somewhere. So yeah, don't do that, kids.
Back before you had to have a boarding pass to go through security, my parents would always follow me to the gate when they would drop me off when I'd visit for Christmas, and my mom always got pulled over for extra screening. Like,
really?
This is in the 90s.
Weird.
Yeah.
Why? Do you know why?
It just looks suspicious.
Something shifty going on there, Mrs. Merritt.
Come from a shifty background, Tom.
I don't like the looks of that nice lady from Greenville, Illinois.
I've always said Tom's got shifty jeans, if you know what I mean.
Wait, does she wear a trench coat?
They don't fit right.
Heavy bags?
No, she'd be wearing a mom sweater and mom jeans and a mom purse.
Yeah. Sometimes which
she
airport?
Looks too normal.
No, sometimes, that's the thing. Sometimes you look too normal, like you're trying too hard to fit in, and that usually, I've seen this like on one of those reality, not cop shows, but security shows.
My mom was trying too hard to just be normal.
Yeah.
So
sometimes sometimes they think they might be a go-between, especially for drug carriers, drug smugglers. They're like a go-between.
Yeah.
They always hire normal-looking people. It's like, hey, you want to drive this suitcase?
That's a compliment, actually. You just look so normal. It was suspicious.
I have a thing that happens to me when I'm in line there that I know is not normal, and I should probably get this out of my system. But I always think to myself, not what am I doing that could be illegal, but what am I doing that they could perceive that I could be doing that's illegal? Like, what if they think that I've got? Well, yeah.
No, I have that paranoid too.
Like, what if they think I have a kilo of cocaine in my butt in a bag?
You know what'll get you over that real quick, Scott Johnson?
What's that?
Carry like a bunch of heavy metal microphones and mixers and equipment that do look suspicious that aren't. Because I used to have that same thing, like, what if they misunderstand and they think, they just decide. And then I actually would carry these mic stands.
Yeah.
These things are like big rings of metal, right?
Yeah.
That show up in the scanner as big things of metal, and I have the mic stand pipe right next to it.
That doesn't look like a weapon at all.
Look at that! Look at that in the scanner.
Yeah,
yeah. So
I had that
times having to go through that and just being like, those are their mic stands. Let me tell you where they are.
Yeah.
And them going, oh, okay, yeah, mic stand's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of got me over it.
You did it? Okay.
I used to have to travel. When you shoot video, you have to travel with like a bunch of XLR cables, mic packs, cameras, and I would just go and it's like, I would open up the bag and it's like there's all camera equipment in here, big heavy things that look like that's a bomb. Those are battery packs. Just go straight through.
Yeah.
And is that stuff you carry on or stuff you just put in baggage?
Carry on. I never check in camera equipment. It's like 12 to 20 grand worth of equipment.
I got last time I went through in whenever it was November, I got patted down for having a Tic Tac in my pocket that I forgot about. So
a Tic Tac?
Yeah, a little Tic Tac. They saw me in the scanner. You go hold your arms up.
I thought it was a pill.
And they did. And they said, all right, you said you emptied everything. I said, I did. And they said, well, what's that in your front little hoo-ha there? And I said, oh, and I reached in. I'm like, it's a little Tic Tac. It's just a little Tic Tac.
This is a totally different meaning for me.
And they're like, not the Tic Tac, sir.
Yeah, I always say that for like general things, but I know it's wrong. So I pulled it out and I go, oh, it's a Tic Tac. And he goes, let me see it. And I had to hand it to him and he gloved it a little bit and looked at it and then gave it back. And it was
Gave it back?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't really want it now.
Yeah, I'm like,
thanks.
no thanks. You have
Flavors, buddy.
Anyway.
Then he popped it in his mouth.
Every time I go through the X-ray scan thing, I've always asked them, I want a copy. I want to know if my exercise regimen is paying off. I'd like to see what I look like. They always give me a weird look. It's like, no, I'm not kidding.
It's like I'd like to go through that thing and see the weird.
I know you guys are looking at me naked. I don't care. I just want to see what it looks like.
Right.
Hey, speaking of airports and airplanes, that leads us to our last story here. Gavra let us know that the U.S. FAA issued a memo last week that Boeing has reported that when its 787 has been powered continuously for 248 days, all generator control units go into fail-safe mode and lose AC power due to a software counter error. So, if all 4 units are powered on at the same time, they could conceivably all lose power at the same time 248 days later, no matter what the plane is doing. Boeing is developing a patch. Meanwhile, the workaround is to turn the generators off and then turn them on again.
Oh my gosh, we are literally patching planes now. That's crazy. Just that idea alone.
I'm not overly concerned with that. I mean, even at 248 days, the planes need to be run through maintenance after so many hours of flight time.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Is it true you have to literally turn them on and off again though?
Yes, basically, like, and I don't know what the checklist is like, but sometime within the 248-day period, somebody has to go in and turn the generator off and turn it on again, and that resets the software counter. It's a 32-bit thing. Right. It's actually a pretty typical software error, but it just because the fail-safe mode is no power, and all 4 units were to do that at the same time, it would be rather unsettling at the very least. Yeah. So yeah, what you do is, I'm guessing they have a rotation where like once a week they turn one of the generators on and off again, just to make sure that they're all out of sequence in case they miss one at some point. But they're going to patch it, and then once that error goes away, they don't have to worry about it.
I don't know. The whole thing seems like making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
Ralph in the chat room says they've been patching planes for 30 years, Scott.
Really?
I know because I've done it.
30 years? What were they patching it with? Like
there's been
duct
software
tape?
in planes. There's been softwares in planes forever. So I imagine there's always patches you got to do on software.
But back then it was like, bring me some more cathode tubes. We need to patch the plane. Like that seems crazy. 30 years ago. I know we weren't.
30 years ago is 85.
That's true.
So,
I guess.
You had chips in planes. You had software in planes.
Yeah, that's what the autopilot and inertial navigation systems
patch
used
the
to
autopilot.
Use. And then if they have ILS,
so the guy blows up properly when he inflates and takes over the
auto.
Yeah, it was auto, right? That's what they called it?
Yeah. OTTO.
Yep.
And then it started to deflate, and there was inflation at his
right, because he had a 32-bit error.
That's right, where
Ralph had to patch.
Yeah, that's right where his hoo-ha was. All right, moving on. We're going to do a pop quiz now.
America scores and wins.
All right, America, let's see what you got. We're going to test Roger again. He's done this before, so he knows the drill. We're going to ask him questions. We decided to do the topic of 80s cartoons for you because you suggested that was a thing you had a lot of knowledge
I'm probably going to do really bad.
Yeah, I'm excited because I also love them, and I want to see how you do here. So these are questions about cartoons from the 80s of various types and sorts. And here's your question. Oh, and if you get it right, if you get it wrong, if you're just tuning in, Tom scores it in ways that are imperceivable by man or his instruments.
But we do have a whole line of toys representing the scoring system coming out soon.
Yeah, there you go.
Imperceptible.
Just like cartoons in the 80s.
Here's your first question. What is the name of Dr. Claw's cat in Inspector Gadget?
Fluffy?
You are wrong. It is Mad Cat. Mad is an acronym. MAD stands for something. I don't know what.
Mutually assured destruction.
Here's another one. Oh, probably. Here's another one that you don't know because if you do, then I'm worried about you. Here you go. Gem is truly outrageous. What are the two rival bands to Gem and the Holograms?
One was the Misfits, and the other one were the... It's like a lizard or some sort of reptilian name. I don't know. All I remember is the Misfits.
All right, we'll give
you
you...
the Misfits.
You got one and one. So Misfits is correct. Stingers is the other one. The Stingers. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't remember the Stingers.
I'm going to give you 0.6. The Stingers isn't really reptilian, but I know where you're going with that. And then a half point for getting the Misfits.
Yeah, it's all right. Next up. What is the name of Prince Adam's cat before it transforms into Battle Cat?
Cringer?
You are correct. Nicely done.
That's like right... Didn't that cartoon come out in the 80s?
Yeah,
like,
right toward the tail end, I want to say, like 87, 88, something like that?
No, it came out like early 80s.
Oh,
like
did it?
80, yeah.
Oh, all right.
It was Mattel's way of selling the toys.
Let's see. He-Man.
He-Man. We did an autopilot about this, Scott. We ought to know.
We did it live.
Well, side note, originally they wanted to do a...
83.
Oh, wow.
83. So they wanted originally to do a Conan the Barbarian style toy line, but they thought it would be too violent for kids, and so they made it a little more fanciful.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Which is
right,
why
I'm going to give you 2 bonus points for knowing all that stuff, but then I'm taking off a bonus point for being a show-off about how much you know about it.
And for knowing all that stuff, yeah. Next up, who is the main villain in the Silverhawks cartoon?
Monstar.
Oh my lord. You totally knew that one. That's insane that you know that.
There wasn't even a pause. I'm giving you a quarter-point bonus.
Monstar. And it's not only Monstar, it's Mon and then an asterisk and then star is how they have it spelled on the official stuff. It's crazy.
It's the same company that did the Thundercats, and then they later did Tiger Sharks.
Yeah. It's real bad. Do you remember, well, let's see, is that question in here? No. Well, there is one actually. I'll wait to talk about it in a minute. Okay. What voice actor played both Cobra Commander in G.I. Joe and Starscream in Transformers?
I don't know his name.
All
I know is Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen would get after him all the time. It was Chris Collins, sometimes credited as Chris Latta. He passed away in 94, sorry.
Roger is incorrect. Roger did know his name.
Oh, did he? Oh, there you go. What year did My Little Pony franchise first debut?
84?
You are correct. Nicely done. Oh, 83. Sorry.
Oh.
Damn it.
Oh, wrong.
All right. I thought it said 84. It's 83. Year before.
Just toying with your emotions now.
Big time.
It's a toy.
What actor provided the voice of Shredder on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Mako?
You are incorrect, although I would have said the same thing, so don't feel bad. It was James Avery, perhaps better known as Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He passed away in 2013. That's weird, Uncle Phil. He may, but I want to say Mako may have done the voice at least one of the movies. I'm not sure about that, but maybe. And for those who don't know who Mako is, he was in MASH a lot, and he also did the voice of Aku.
Oh, I love Samurai Jack.
So do I. So good. Whatever happened to that movie they promised? They were going to make an animated film, and then they were going to do a live action, and they never did either one. What the hell happened there?
Well, as a side note about that, originally they were going to have him fight demonic beings and stuff, but they thought that all the blood would be too much for ostensibly a children's show, so they made them robots.
Yeah, and they were
mechanical creations.
And they were so They would have been the most. It would have been the goriest cartoon on TV. Period. If those were fleshy creatures, but because they were robots, they could get away with it. And they had plenty of oil spewing out of those things. Like
it's not even from the 80s. That's like from the 90s.
Well, that is, but the Shredder thing's from the 80s, isn't it? I think the Shredder thing is. James Avery, perhaps better known as Uncle Phil. Oh, I already did that one. Okay, sorry. Last question. What is the name of Brave Star's robotic horse sidekick?
30-30?
Oh, my gosh, you got it. You got it.
Okay.
30-30, dude. I love that show. I love that show. So into Brave Star.
He had the strength of the bear, the eyes of the hawk, the ears of the wolf, and the speed of the puma.
Ears of the wolf, speed of the puma. They had a whole song for what you just said. Amazing. All right. I think you did pretty well, but Tom will tell us for sure. How do you do?
Roger finished with an impressive score of 4.85. Congratulations, Roger.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What is the total earnable pointage?
Yeah. Well, there isn't one, right? Because Tom can add extra. Yeah, it's infinite. It goes on in either direction infinitely.
Yeah.
Roger,
there's a bell curve around 8, but.
All right. Nicely done. I enjoyed the heck out of that. All right, there's the end of that song.
Good one, Ice Worm.
Yay, good job, buddy. We're doing this now.
The future promises even more startling things to come.
It's time for forecast. Tom did this one. You want to? Oh, I guess you should say it used to be a segment. Now it's it used to be a show. Now it's a segment. It's a thing where we predict the future, usually around tech and other cool stuff. Tom, what's your thing this week?
This is not a prediction that I want to happen. It's not even necessarily a prediction that I think has to happen. It's a prediction that I'm afraid is going to be true.
Okay.
We will never live on another planet. And I don't just mean the three of us. Like, human beings will never live on another planet. Even the moon will just be a place for mining and industrial production at great cost. Mars will visit. We might visit the planets in our solar system briefly, but we won't settle there. And no aliens will ever contact us. We will be alone on our planet until it blows up.
Ever, you say, or until we kill ourselves. One way or the other, we're never going to colonize.
Well, until the sun
planet.
goes red giant.
Okay,
and just burns it.
And then it just cooks.
So this is a East meets West ass question, I think. So Roger, counterpoint. Do you think we'll ever do this?
Well, if I were to contrast, I would say yes. I believe that, and I'm extending and assuming humanity will be around in 1,000 years. However, I think habitation will be limited. It will not be in any great number. I would barely see it moving out of the hundreds. Because
really?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, you mean like they'd end up being like scientists and our best people?
Yeah, they would be. I would liken it to kind of research facilities where you could do certain experiments that you couldn't do because of the lighter gravity and the lack of habitation. So you don't have to worry about scorching the neighbors or anything like that, or causing a toxic waste spill.
Sure.
Because no one on the moon would care. The moon wouldn't care.
But this utopian idea that we're all gonna expand to the stars is not in our cards. Either of you are saying, I guess.
The way I see it is the Earth will always still be the mother continent, so to speak, and then you'll have all these separate islands that people will, like Tom was saying, will visit. And I believe that these visitations will have to extend at least a minimum of 2 to 3 years in order to make it useful to be on that planet. But I think the farthest we'll ever get to, or maybe one of the moons in Saturn or Jupiter, and that's pretty much it. I think the limitations of our technology and this distances for us to physically travel and keep a person alive until they get there and look around and report back, get back in the ship, would be too much.
So, Tom, do you think that, like, if we have a sudden increase in speed and mobility, and it's not going to take 2 years to get to a planet to go visit it, to go see Mars or whatever?
Not going to happen. That's never going to happen.
All right.
Now, I put this in here because we always have these glowing positive, like, we're going to live in bubbles that float through space and stuff. And I'm like, I want to test the depressing prediction, which is what this is. Because I really don't think this is what I want to happen. But there's a part of me, this is the internal struggle that I always go through, that's like, yeah, but moving things the distance that they would take just to get to the nearest star, which might not even have any habitable planets, is a long shot. So it's all a matter of like, which do you think is probable and which do you think is possible? I think it's possible that we move off of our planet and invest and live in other planets, or that we can create generation ships. But man, it's not probable when you think about it, because just living on the International Space Station for a few months is a huge leap that causes damage to people. And we haven't quite figured out how to get over all of the problems with radiation and bone loss and muscle mass that doing that causes. We got a long way to go before we can travel for long distances in space, even to Mars.
And one of my ideas about the whole thing is that I think we're looking at it wrong. Like that we're trying to develop technology to move our bodies to a different planetary body, when what we should be doing is developing technologies that change our body, that alter our forms, that make it more amenable to space flight, to space travel.
Yeah.
Right.
Minds. Now you're talking. That I can get behind. We actually might get to the point where we can put our brains and our minds and brain-mind divide. We'll leave that debate for another day of philosophy, but put ourselves into another body construct, possibly even transmitted through space. Right. So that you don't have to move our physical bodies. That's good. I like that.
No,
now
I mean,
that's feeling the positivity again.
Well, it's if you look at it, it's probably the most logical step. If you look at what costs most in space flight, it's not the rocket engines, it's not the fuel, it's making sure the person in it doesn't die. Right? It's creating the spacesuits. It's creating the training programs to get these people ready. It's teaching them. It's doing all these things. You're trying to take a very fragile being and putting it under enormous stress, under very difficult conditions. I mean, it would make sense to just create. This is a space hardened suit. It'll work on any planet up to 3 times Earth's normal gravity. We'll plot some variation of your brain in it. And then that will go around and research for us. And then, ideally in the future, we'd be able to grow genetically through genetic bionic development or whatever, some sort of cybernetics, some sort of hybrid body that would allow us to inhabit different.
Yeah, my grandpa is so old fashioned. He like stays in the same body for decades. You believe that?
Wow, man. He's weird, man. Here's what I'd say. Let's build some islands and some underwater cities. Then because we have so much room here. That's what we always talk about is, we're running out of space. Let's make some artificial small continents.
We actually aren't running out of space. We're running out of space for the way we live and the very power intent. It's more about like, okay, do we really need to generate power in XYZ fashion when we could go? That's like one of the things is, I know nuclear isn't isn't very popular, but I think our future power source, at least for a majority of humanity, will be from nuclear sources because they're compact, they're incredibly clean, they don't put out any greenhouse gases. And if you move on to a new form of breeder reactors and you don't develop ones that don't necessarily require uranium as an input. And that's one reason why our nuclear facilities in the U.S. are built that way, is because the military wanted weapons-grade uranium as an output, as a product of those. And if we, kind of rejigger our viewpoints, making smaller power plants that are highly efficient nuclear-based, put them in a place that's, seismically, low, has seismically low activity, you're like halfway there.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
I don't, hydropower is great, but, you're damming up rivers, you're blocking salmon runs. Windmills are great, but, you also have to have a lot of free land to put it there, and you got to worry about birds.
Honestly, the biggest problem is that we are not artificial intelligences, and when the AIs reveal themselves as self-aware, they'll just wipe us out as inefficient.
Yeah, well, we're just going to be dead weight when that happens.
See, I think that's a very humanistic view. I think the machines will look at us as a kind of endangered species that need to be cared for, and will be basically put into super futuristic zoos that look exactly like the place we live in right now.
They'll make great pets.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we're in one now. I don't know.
Well, how do you know?
Yeah, you don't know. Oh, the Matrix. Is there anything you can't come back to? All right. Well, I like all these thoughts. These are all good. One day, perhaps, my floating continent ideal will work, and that's all that really matters. Dwayne sent us an email in our email section today. By the way, those come to us at currentgeek@gmail.com. You're encouraged to keep these coming. Dwayne says this: Dear everyone there today. I like that. Your show literally got me through a month of near blindness. I had a successful surgery, but during that time, this turned out to be my favorite thing to listen to. Great way to change my focus, Dwayne.
Happy to help, Dwayne. So glad to hear that.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. I wonder, I wrote back, and I haven't heard back, but I had early onset cataracts that got genetically from my dad, and it was hereditary, it turned out. I ended up having to have double surgeries as well. And I can tell you, having the first one, not knowing what it was, I mean, you pretty much were blind toward the end there, and then finding out there's surgery for it, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how great this is, and now, everything's good. I wonder if it was the same. So, Dwayne, whatever it was, we're glad that there was something in your ear for the last year and a half, and that you got something out of it. So thanks, man, for letting us know.
Keep those fish flags flying.
That's right. Roger Chang, thanks so much for being on the show with us again.
Thank you for having me.
Always a blast. Do you have anything you would like to promote today? Because we'd love to give time at the end of podcasts. That's the tradition in podcasts, to give people time to promote something. So what do you got?
My Twitter at Jolly Roger.
Kabuzz on everything else.
Yes.
Or I shouldn't give that away.
Well, no, just one thing. Just one thing.
That's right. All over, I'll tell you what. Well, whatever. Every time I log into Steam, I see that my friend Kabuzz owns every game I'm interested in. So I see that name everywhere I go.
You know what? When I asked for that press account, I thought I was just getting Valve games. I didn't realize I was getting their entire library.
It is the greatest thing in the world, and I wish I had it. It's always good to have you on. So don't forget, Jolly Roger on Twitter. Tom Merritt, anything you'd like to add?
If you'd like a much more positive view of the future, good luck. What's a slightly more positive view of the future is my book, Citadel 32, with a cover written by Scott Johnson. Yep. It's a lovely cover, and I think the book's not bad either. It is about a base on the moon where a man finds a strange discovery that could lead to reconnection with Earth, but someone wants to stop him from pursuing it. Meanwhile, on Earth, a monk of the Citadel discovers a strange ancient artwork. Could it lead to the truth of the myth of the moon men? Finding out the truth could kill him. TomMerrittBooks.com.
Don't let Tom's NaNoWriMo time go to waste, everybody. Please support it. For real, it's a lot of time and effort and work. And
I've gotten some nice comments on Twitter about it. So apparently not everyone hates it.
No, it's really good. I like it a lot. And the cover's not bad.
The cover's awesome.
I'm into the cover. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for being here. CurrentGeek.com is the place to go find all of our details. Follow Tom at Ace Detect, me at Scott Johnson, and the show at Current Geek on Twitter. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Tom, and for Roger. We'll see you next time. There you go. We have recorded for precisely 1 hour.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Precisely 1 hour.
1 hour. Exterminate. That was great, Roger. Seriously, as always, just good having you on here.
No, thank you for having me.
So thanks. We'll definitely do it again sometime. And not just because I was out of guest this week, I promise.
I'm out of guess. Hey, wait a minute, Roger.
I really like
Roger will do
you
it.
talk.
He'll host anything.
I just actually like having you on. It just seems convenient that we did it that way. But anyway, huge thanks. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. Have
Goodbye,
a fantastic
everyone.
time. I can't find the hang-up thing, so I will stop trying. Okay, I'll do it here. Bye, everybody.